What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sasscast. Now, it's a pretty special one today. Instead of doing a typical podcast, we're going to be reviewing The Other Guys. And to my right, I have a pretty special guest today. Everyone, please welcome Ben at Please Be Excited. How's it going, Ben?
What's up? What's happening, Gage?
Oh, dude, are you ready for this?
I'm so
we're about
excited.
to get into it. Okay,
It's
so
gonna be a good one.
it is. It really is. So, first things first, we got to cover the plot. Now, I got a synopsis here that I'm going to read through, kind of skim through, I guess. And it's long. And the thing about this movie, I don't know how many times I've seen it. I never remember 70% of it. I remember a few select parts, but there's always moments in the movie where I go, oh, right, this happens, or I forgot about this character. It just seems like either the movie is really good, so I tend to just, I don't know, focus on the really funny parts, and then I go back and fresh for the other stuff, or the movie's actually terrible and it's not worth remembering. I don't know, but I don't really remember much of it, so it was a good idea to go back and rewatch it last night, so I was actually able to properly get all this stuff down.
Coming fresh, you know?
Yeah. So, the movie starts off in a very interesting way, focusing on officers Highsmith and Danson, played by Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock, which already the movie's off to a great start.
What
They
a
are,
choice, right?
yeah, and they're like the go-to cops for the city, but the thing is, neither of them are good at their jobs. They just know how to talk to people and look badass doing it. So it starts off with them doing a drug bust on... They're in their car chasing these guys in an SUV who are armed with, what, SMGs? They got like Uzis and stuff, and they're firing back. And they had like
Now,
a
did you
couple
want some
ounces...
facts, Gage?
No. Go for it. Go
I've,
for it.
I've got a fact for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna call them the other facts.
Other
So
facts,
did
I
you
like
know
that.
that Samuel L. Jackson was actually meant to be, his character was meant to be played by Michael Chiklis, is it, from The Shield?
Oh, really?
But he didn't want to get typecast into that kind of serious, badass cop role, so
Wow.
they went with Samuel L. Jackson, which is an incredible choice.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm glad they went with that because Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock is such a great combo.
Oh, it's perfect, right?
So good. And this whole thing, they're driving their cars, they're getting shot up. The hood pops up at one point, and both The Rock and Sam Jackson pull their guns out the window. They shoot the latches on the hood, and the hood goes flying off. It's totally ridiculous. And they slam into a tourist bus. So The Rock starts driving the bus, chases after the bad guys, does a power slide, which launches Samuel L. Jackson, still in his car, forward as he's shooting both of his pistols at these guys, hits a bank, explodes, causing like millions of dollars worth in property damage. And all these guys had on them were, it was like a few ounces of weed, which is the most absurd drug bust I've ever seen in my entire life. First a few ounces of weed, all this happened. But definitely does set the tone for the movie. So they get back to the station. Well, actually, first they get the key to the city, which is a ridiculous press conference.
That's a great scene.
I love how everybody introduces themselves. It's like, oh, I'm so-and-so from TMZ, print edition. Just, they always say where they're from, but then it's like the one that nobody cares about, which I think is hilarious.
And can we give a shout out to one of the best moments in this movie? Is the hot dog guy. His
Oh
delivery.
my god. Free hot dogs
It's just
for
spot on.
life. 30 seconds
No
pass. No drinks. I can't do
Can't-
it.
Can't do it. Just
Oh.
perfect delivery. Perfect
Oh, it's
comedic
so
timing.
good.
It's amazing.
So perfect. So we go back to the station. They show up, and everybody's cheering for him and everything. And they start telling a story, and I just love this delivery. I start talking about it. I think it's, I forget which character it was. It's not Rob Riggle. It's the other guy, Damon Wayans Jr., who
Oh yeah.
he calls it out, and he's like, let me finish. I didn't finish the joke. They start talking again, and he calls it out again. And I just love how they... I don't even remember what the joke was. Oh, my God. Oh.
It's a Schwarzenegger that you're talking about, eh?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like, yeah, it's just perfect delivery on both sides. This is so good.
Like talking about like a man
Let
came
me
to
finish.
Oh my gosh. My favorite part is they start. I think it's when Will Ferrell speaks up and Samuel L. Jackson goes, "Shut your face! If I want you to talk, I'll put my hand up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet." Oh my God, it's so. His delivery is so perfect on that.
Oh, those two are great. I want a spin-off series where it's like a prequel with just Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock.
That'd be amazing.
They could call it The Guys, you know?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And so we do get a good kind of introduction here for Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, where Will Ferrell's like, "We'll do the paperwork," and then David Wayne's Jr. is like, "Yeah, paper, bitch." God, so good. They go do that, and my favorite part of the movie is when Bob comes up and starts talking to them, and Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg just stare each other down, and Bob's just going off like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this, this, and this. It's gonna be great. You know, my wife's making this," and Mark Wahlberg just snaps like, "It's a bad time, Bob." God, it just gets me every single time.
I thought you were going to go for another one there. You know, I think it might have been just before there where the captain comes out. And what does he say? This paperwork is like Bob's wife. It's thick. Is it ugly?
It's thick,
and it's got
ugly,
Danson's
and it's got
fingerprints
Danson's
all over
fingerprints
it.
all over it. It's so good.
Michael
Oh my
Jordan was
God.
ready.
And we just get this great moment. We get multiple great moments in this scene. My favorite one's coming up, though. It's a little bit later on. Not too much, just a few minutes later, where... No, wait. It's the same scene. So it's after The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson leave. When they're about to give him the paperwork, that's when Michael Keaton's character, the chief, Eugene, it's like, "All right, guys, bring it in. Bring it in. A little bit more. A little bit more. No. Back a bit further. Perfect." It's so stupid, yet hilarious at the same time. Just the fact that they play it off so serious, but it's just the most absurd, ridiculous thing ever.
They must have had so much fun making this movie. Just
I can't even
you
imagine.
could just tell that the cast just had a blaster.
Yeah, it's so good. Why is my camera flashing? What the hell? Okay. It's just so funny.
They're watching you, dude.
I know, right? So they get the paperwork. Mark Wahlberg's complaining about it. He starts insulting Will Ferrell, which is a great moment. Some of the things he says is, "When you pee, it sounds feminine," which is the stupidest insult ever, but it just works so well for his character. If I was oh man, if you were a fish. No, what did he say? Like he was a crab or something? He's like, "Well, I would freaking eat you." Then Will Ferrell goes off on a tangent. It's like, "Well, you know, we would fight back, and we got a taste for blood. So now we're gonna start. We're gonna start building
constructing
series of breathing apparatuses along the beach." Oh God, you will not win that battle.
Now, fun fact: this was completely improvised.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
It's
amazing.
not in the script at all.
That's amazing. And I just love how it ends. Mark Wahlberg has no rebuttal. He just takes his coffee and throws it on Will Ferrell. Oh, God. It's so perfect. So, basically, we get introduced to a different character here. We get introduced to David Ershon, who's like the main bad guy in it. Not really bad guy, but like he's just the main focus. Basically, he lost billions of dollars for this company or whatever, so now he's kind of, you know, on the end of his rope. He's being watched by all these people, and they're making sure that he gets their money back, or else. Okay, we skip ahead a little bit. Man, there's a lot here that I'm just going to skip over. Basically, let's just jump ahead to The Rock and Sam Jackson's final scene. So, oh my God. So they're chasing these guys up this roof. They get to the roof, the guys rappel down, and here comes Sam Jackson and The Rock. They get to the edge of the roof, and it's like, oh, they got, special forces tactics. bad guys cut the rope so they can't zip line down. All the while, it starts playing Foo Fighters music, which is just perfect.
My hero. What a song, you know?
You think what I'm thinking?
What a song to go
Aim
out
for
on.
the bushes. And they fist bump, and they jump. And you just follow them down until he splat on the ground. Cut to the funeral. Such perfect comedic timing out of that. It's so good.
Did you expect that first time watching the movie?
Dude, oh my god. I love this movie so much. Basically, now there's a hole left in the NYPD. And so you have a couple of the guys with Rob Riggle and Damon Wayans Jr.'s characters kind of trying to fill the role there. But Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell doesn't want anything to do with it. He's fine being the paper bitch. But Mark Wahlberg wants to get in on the action. So they get this call. Rob Riggle and Damon Wayans Jr. They go out for it. And Mark Wahlberg's just like, come on, we gotta go. So he gets his radio and pulls a gun at Will Ferrell and tells him, get in the car. Get in the car. So they go, they get in the car. They drive there, and they're going super slow. And Mark Wahlberg tells him to gas it. And Will Ferrell screams America and floors that car and just goes right into the crime scene into a pile of cocaine. Runs over a couple dead bodies. He's just the worst.
Now, I've got some other facts for you here.
Go for it.
They actually put a race car engine in that Prius. So that's how it's able to go as fast as it can.
That makes sense, because that thing would not have been able to haul ass like that.
No.
So, basically, they get brought back to the station. They get chewed out, all that stuff. Will Ferrell does have this lead on scaffolding. So they go, they find Urshan, and they arrest him. But then they're eventually stopped by the bodyguards, and Urshan's taken away. And then they're told by the chief to lay off because, oh, David Urshaw's blah, 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 blah. So we get a lot of cover. They can't get him. They eventually go back, get him again, and now they have to go into hiding. So I'm kind of skipping over some of the small stuff because to get to one of my favorite scenes. They go back to Will Ferrell's house, and they start discussing things. And even Mendez walks in, and Mark Wahlberg just goes, "Who are you?" It's like, "Oh, I'm his wife." "No, but seriously, who are you?" I'm his old lady." And he just keeps going on asking because he can't believe that Will Ferrell's married to that. And I don't think anybody can because it's hilarious. And the whole night, he's just obsessed with her. And at one point, they're sitting at the dinner table, and Will Ferrell tells her, he's like, "Oh, you need to change." And she's like, "I did." He's like, "Well, you look like crap." And Mark Wahlberg goes, "Hey, don't talk to her like that." Which is just such a perfect delivery. He's getting all defensive now about his friend's wife. Then we get the great scene afterwards where he's leaving, and he just keeps saying bye to Sheila. Will Ferrell's like, "Oh, I don't think he heard me. Bye." And he's like, "Bye, Sheila." Just ignoring Will Ferrell. It's so good. Oh my god. So they go back after Urshan. Urshan bribes him 3 times, and they take the bribe every time, and then halfway through realize, shit, we did it again. He bribed us. They go back in. Get another great scene with Bad Cop, which is amazing. Mark Wahlberg coming in, just harassing the guy. He's like, "Duh, I'll talk to him." He points at Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell's like, "You talk to me?" He just runs over and just freaks out on this guy. Starts throwing shit, and at one point, he's just like throwing a painting off the wall and knocks himself over, and he goes, Where is he? Sees Urshan and then tackles him again. It's just so absurd in every way.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so perfect, though. So they get Urshan, they take him away, and they get to the safe house or whatever. And then we get the most disturbing scene ever where Will Ferrell has to go see his wife. So they have his wife, or his wife's mom, relay the message back and forth. And it's very, very personal info that they're just
Slightly disturbing.
Oh my god, it's so funny though. It's
Shout out to whoever the actress is that actually is playing her mum, though. She does an incredible
she
job.
killed it. She was fantastic.
Also looks a lot like her.
Yeah, yeah. So they eventually get demoted and everything, and Mark Wahlberg's doing traffic duty, and Will Ferrell's still trying to crack the case. And then my favorite scene of the whole movie, Will Ferrell walks into the office of the chief, and Chief's just on his phone. Will Ferrell walks up, and for the first time ever actually stands up for himself. He's like, oh, what does he say? Gator needs his gat back, you punk ass bitch. And so the chief just kind of looks at him, pulls out his gun, hands it back, and he's like, what the fuck? And from then on, we actually have a little bit of Gator, which is fantastic. He goes,
100%.
threatens Mark Wahlberg, gets his gun back, and they do all the cool shit after this.
Let's go.
So, again, this is the part where, like I said, I forget most of the movie. I don't remember what happens now. I literally don't remember what happens.
It's honestly not important.
I'm glad. So they get Urshan. Oh my god. Right. So Urshan's like, oh,
it's the whole thing
transfer.
with David Wallace from The Office.
Oh yeah, David Wallace.
We could probably skip past that part.
He's up on the ledge.
It's very thin plot-wise, because I believe he said the reason he jumped was because they got him so drunk and intoxicated that they had talked him into jumping.
He's up on the ledge, and Mark Wahlberg's trying to talk him down, and it's like, I don't think anybody down here think you have the balls to do it. I'm not saying it's not within your power. I'm sure you can. Oh, he's flying! And he's...
Right into the hot dog
Oh
stand.
my god.
Which I believe might actually be the same hot dog stand that we see at the start, possibly.
I hope so.
That would be cool. I didn't actually check. I should have gone and checked that. Should have checked that under the facts.
Right. So basically, the big thing after that is they give David Urshan. They go to stop the transfer, and bad guys show up. They have a little brawl, and they both get shot. Then the cops show up, save the day. So that's basically the general plot. There's one part in here. It's the second time they get Urshan. So before they go to his apartment, they go into the boardroom meeting, and they arrest him there. This scene with Mark Wahlberg where he jumps on the boardroom table onto his back and slides, pulls out a second gun and starts shooting. It's a better Max Payne moment than the entirety of the Max Payne movie. Just in
You're
that
not
one
wrong.
scene.
I'd say also the car park scene where he's taking out those guys on the motorbikes.
Every time I see moments like that in this movie, I think, like, I didn't see Max Payne for a while. I saw this movie and was like, oh, I really want to watch Max Payne now because Mark Wahlberg is totally embodying that character. And then I watched Max Payne and was like, no, he's not. But he's got those moments which are really cool. But, yeah, that's basically our plot for the other guys. It's pretty basic.
Now, do you know how this entire movie came about?
No, I don't.
So, another other facts. So, director Adam McKay was having dinner with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, and he just happened to like just their comedic timing and just their vibe and chemistry together. So he's like, we need to make this happen. And then he just said to someone, hey, we need to get these people in a movie, maybe a buddy cop movie. And that was pretty much what happened. And I think there are a few scripts going around at the time. One was Cop Out. I think Kevin Smith ended up directing that one. One was obviously the other guys. So it sounded like it could have almost been Cop Out that they could have ended up going with. Thankfully, obviously, it was the other guys.
Right.
But it's just crazy how it just happened because he's like, these two worked so well together. And obviously, we've seen it in, obviously other movies as well since then. Daddy's Home, classic movie. Daddy's Home 2, But that's how it came to be.
I just love how we didn't get a sequel for this, but we got Daddy's Home too.
I still feel like it's going to happen.
I hope so. I do want to give one shout out I forgot to mention. Throughout the movie, we get some narration from Ice-T, and it is phenomenal.
Yes, I was going to say that. I've actually got that here. Oh, you've probably got it, have you?
God, I love Ice-T so much. He's like the best part of Borderlands 3. Just, oh,
good.
God.
Just his delivery of, I don't know, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh my God, I love it. Let's see. I've got some more trivia here I want to go over. But there's a lot of just garbage.
Because there was a scene that was filmed with Paris Hilton that got cut. Did you know about that?
Good.
It was meant to. It was meant to be Terry's kind of through line for the story. There was meant to be an arc at the end where he got some redemption because obviously he shot Derek Jeter. So it was meant to be at the end he was meant to save Paris Hilton, but they cut the scene entirely and just put it on DVD. So that was meant to be his redemption arc. Where at the end there was like a newspaper article saying that he saved Paris Hilton, but the city still hates him. was the joke there. So it would have been quite good to see actually.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Let's see. Right. A couple things is when the captain, let's see, when he takes the pistol from Terry, or Alan, he's got his finger on the trigger the whole time. So basically he's telling Alan, you'll get this back when you learn how to use it, but the whole time he doesn't eject the final bullet and he's got his finger on the trigger. And then later on, I forgot what scene it was, but he was just getting a phone, he was like getting a radio call or something, and he's got his revolver like up against his face, gets the call, drops it, and goes, okay, and then just goes to the call. It's such like a small little subtle thing that I only picked up on this time watching. Oh god, it's so funny. I love.
There's so many great moments like that you watch on those repeat viewings.
Yeah, just like the little subtle things you don't notice the first couple times. We got this scene where Terry does ballet, which is amazing.
Which Terry somehow thinks is a strip club.
Yeah. He walks into a ballet studio. It's like, what? You should be up in here in the
Dancing
strip club
for
shaking it for
singles?
$20. Oh my god. Then her dance partner's like, we're gonna listen to this drug dealer. It's like, damn.
He loves you very much, Francine. Oh, it's so
man.
good.
It's just so absurd. Of course, we got the amazing quote, I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly. Which...
Now, I've only probably seen this movie, right? I've seen the movie, what I'd thought it had been, about 20 times. In reality, what I do is I normally chuck this movie on sometimes before I'm about to go to sleep, and I fall asleep halfway through.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the end of it, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. And I completely forgot there was actually a peacock at the end that just flies around.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Okay, so I've
crazy.
got the exchange from the first time they have their argument. So, Alan's basically like, I have the feeling you don't like me. And Terry goes, no, I don't like you. Oh, sorry. No, I don't like you. I think you're a fake cop. The sound of your piss hitting the urinal, it sounds feminine. If you were in the wild, I would attack you. Even if you weren't in my food chain, I would go out of my way to attack you. Even if I were a lion and you were a tuna, I would swim out to the middle of the ocean and freaking eat you. And then I'd bang your tuna girlfriend. I forgot about that part. And then Alan's got the perfect rebuttal. Like, okay, first off, a lion swimming in the ocean. Lions don't like water. If you placed it near a river or some sort of freshwater source, that makes sense. But you find yourself in the ocean, 20-foot wave, I'm assuming off the coast of South Africa, coming up against a full-grown 800-pound tuna with his 20 or 30 friends, you lose that battle. You lose that battle 9 times out of 10. And guess what? You've wandered into our school of tuna, and we now have a taste of lion. We've talked to ourselves. We've communicated and said, you know what? Lion tastes good. Let's go get some more lion. We've developed a system to establish a beachhead and aggressively hunt you and your family, and we will corner your pride, your children, your offspring.
How do they improvise that?
I don't know. How are you going to do that? We will construct a series of breathing apparatus with kelp. We'll be able to trap certain amounts of oxygen. It's not going to be days at a time. An hour? Hour 45? No problem. That will give us enough time to figure out where you live, go back to the sea, get some more oxygen, and stalk you. You just lost at your own game. You're outgunned and outmanned. Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
How did Mark Wahlberg just not... How did he not laugh?
I don't know. I don't know.
Straight face.
Oh, God.
I'm laughing at it now. I've heard that about 30 times.
That quote, I totally forgot about this part. When Alan and Sheila are having dinner together, and she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, talking about how they went back and kind of rekindled some of his past as Gator. They start
Oh,
fighting a little bit, and she
are
goes,
you even listening to the story?
she, it ends with her going, "I'm pregnant," and he goes, "Whose baby is it?" Gator's bitches better be using Jimmy's.
I
Oh
love
my
telling
god.
the story about what he was doing. Like, well, so you're a pimp. He's like, no, you even listening to the story?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh. While we're on great moments, can we please shout out pretty much every scene with Michael Keaton? But I think the one that's underrated that doesn't get talked about enough is his morning meeting at Bed Bath and Beyond, where he's mixed up the two like morning meeting notes. So he's like reading out the police stuff,
Yeah,
and he's talking about is it the rapist or something? And they're like, oh, sorry, wrong sheet. It's like, but seriously, if you live in that area, be careful.
it's so good. Oh my god.
He's got to be the MVP. Like everyone's amazing in this movie, but Michael Keaton, just I want to see him in more comedy, just roles like that. And I feel like it's his character. You feel for him, you know. He's just down on his
Yeah,
luck. He's just trying to look after his family, support his family.
it's so good.
He's working two jobs, and he's just had enough of these two. You know,
Oh my god.
I
I
would have
just
done the same exact thing.
Yeah, I love all the TLC references where Michael Keaton's just like,
Oh,
just don't go chasing waterfalls, and they're like, you just quote TLC. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. And he does like two other times throughout the movie, and was like, I don't, what is that? What, I don't know what you're talking about.
it's such a great running joke. And I love it too when he's at Bear Bath Beyond and like because he's outside of work, he's actually super excited to see like the two of them. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
You come to buy some towels or whatever?"
you guys here for the bath mats?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so good, so good. But he's just so. I would definitely love to see more. I was gonna say unutilized, but he's in the movie a fair bit. But definitely he's one of the MVPs for sure.
Yeah, I just want more of him. He's so funny.
Yeah, like so spin off, like so with The Rock, with Samuel L. Jackson,
Oh
with
my
him as
god.
captain.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I need it. I need that in my life.
I
But
would
I
love
just
that
I
so
love the
much.
two of them together. I love the Ellen and Terry dynamic. It's so good.
They're great together. Like that was the only reason I suffered through 30 minutes of Daddy's Home. I didn't even watch
Yeah.
it all the way through, but just watching them together was so funny.
Oh, they're too good. Too good.
Man. Oh my god.
Yeah, so many great moments.
It's it's one of those movies that I feel like never gets old. Like I can watch it over and over again and there's still
Picking up on
humor
stuff.
to be found. Yeah.
Even the dumb joke about how whenever they get kidnapped, they steal their shoes.
Oh, that's so
Still
great
gets
too.
me.
Oh
Or the
god.
homeless people in the car. Like, is it Dirty Mike and the boys? Who Dirty Mike is actually played by the director Adam McKay,
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh
which
my
is
god.
just awesome. But how they're so they're polite enough to leave the note,
Yeah, right?
and then they just go out drinking with them.
Man. 9:15, let's have a great day everybody. Cut the shit. God.
Oh, who's the guy? It's the guy that the one that plays Captain Mike. Is it Captain Mike on in The Office? He's on the cruise boat. You know the boat that they have going around Lake Wallenpaupack. That
Yeah, Rob
actor, that
Riggle.
cop.
Yeah.
That's the one. His delivery of that. You know, there's a scene and it's early on in the movie where he's driving around with his partner. And he's just talking about this crazy wild night and all this crazy stuff that happened. And then at the end, his delivery of, yeah, bar bitches can get crazy or something like that. Whatever. He's just
Dude.
so good in that role. It's got so many of those just fantastic actors from obviously, some of the prior movies. And I think the
Man.
reason Eva Mendes was saying that the reason she did it, like she was super excited for the role because she's such a huge Anchorman fan that she had
Oh
to
my
be. She's
god.
like, I need to be in this movie. Because watching it, I'm like, why is she here? Like she does like obviously serious acting roles. I know she's done a couple of comedies, but she's like a huge
Man.
Anchorman fan. And it's so awesome to get her in that role.
Just imagine getting Mark Wahlberg in Anchorman 3. That
Oh,
would be so good. So,
oh, it'd be amazing.
let's see. Wow, so the movie's only 107 minutes long. 116 minutes if you watch the unrated cut. That's short. That's a short movie. It's less than 2 hours.
Mm.
It's just
Goes
over an
by
hour and a
quick.
half.
I'd
Let's
say
see.
probably the only part that drags a little bit is probably towards the end, but you need to tidy it up and finish stuff up because
Yeah.
that movie's at its best when it's just ad-lib, when they actually try and introduce more of the actual, through line storyline with the cop stuff and that kind of thing.
Right.
For me, anyway, I tend to lose a little bit of interest. It's more about the the fun, crazy, wacky antics that they get up to. But it goes by fast for the most part now.
Definitely. So the budget for the movie, it's not exact. It's estimated $100 million for this movie. It's a lot of money for not. I mean, I'm assuming most of that went to
Bit.
hiring The Rock, but
Yeah. And
the
probably Wahlberg.
opening weekend did 35 million, and then the total worldwide cumulative gross was over 170 million. So the movie did make its money back, which was nice. So it's kind of surprising that we haven't gotten a.
I think especially considering it's almost like a cult classic now. Like, I'd say it's more popular now than ever. Like, and I think that's because it's obviously been on Netflix, it's been on other streaming services, but not a lot of people were talking about it until probably say in the last couple of years. It seems to be talked about a lot more and referenced a lot more, and obviously in the memes and the gifs and things that are out there. So it would be ripe for a sequel right now. Like, I think people would be more stoked for that than probably any other sequel to any Will Ferrell or, I'm not going to say Mark Wahlberg movie, but definitely probably I think Will Ferrell fans would be definitely keen to see a sequel.
Absolutely. I also want to give a shout out to. Yeah, there it is. Ray Stevenson. He plays the Australian security guard or bodyguard or whatever. I want to give him a shout out because he played Frank Castle in Punisher Warzone.
Oh, and you're a big Punisher fan.
Yeah, that movie sucks. I don't like that movie because we were supposed to get a sequel with Thomas Jane. That fell through, so they just rebooted it. But Ray Stevenson was still a great Frank Castle. If they ever do I want them to do like an MCU crossover or like a Flashpoint thing so bad where I want it to be, or like Spider-Verse. You know, there's rumors going around that we might, in the next Spider-Man movie, we might get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in it. I want Punisher where we get Thomas Jane, we get Ray Stevenson, and John Bernthal, and Dolph Lundgren. I want to see all four of them come together, all four live-action Punishers, and just...
Dolph Lundgren, did he play the Punisher at one point?
He was the very original Punisher back in... I haven't seen it. I want to, but it's like you can't find it anywhere.
I need to see that.
That's God. Dolph Lundgren.
If I was typing that, I'd have to hit Shift F7. F7 for spell check.
So it came out in 1989. It's got a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Watch that.
So it didn't do well, apparently. 5.7 on IMDb. Yeah, there's like... I don't think there's any way to watch it legitimately.
And he doesn't get a lot of screen time too, but he definitely is one of those ones that stands out. His whole monologue about Kylie Minogue in the office with the captain. It's fantastic.
God. So good.
No, he must have been the one. He's the one that put the, you know how he gets his gun back, but it's got that kind of shine to it. How they've,
yeah,
they put that varnish on it. Oh, it's so good.
Well, it looks like the whole movie's on YouTube.
Oh, sweet! I know what I'm done.
Maybe make sure it's actually it. Looks like it.
I hope he just plays the same character from Rocky 4, like it's a follow-up to it.
That'd be amazing.
He just turns into the Punisher.
Looks like it is the legit movie.
Nice.
And wow. That is 1980s as hell.
Do you know what I'd also love to know in that movie is how they shot that? I'm sure it was an actual basketball game where those celebrities were at. Because you know how they've got, is it like Tracy Morgan and, what's her name? The one that's like, call me with Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of like famous celebrities just sort of sitting there. They look like they're actually just watching the game. Just makes me think, did they actually just go to an actual game and just film that section and then...
Probably.
I don't know, they must have done something like that. Because I'm sure they wouldn't, I don't know. They must have had to have. They were. I'm sure those celebrities would have had to be there at the time. Like they wouldn't hire them, bring them on set, that kind of thing. It looked like just a genuine basketball game, didn't it?
Well, I think they might have actually done it in the
Maybe-
basketball game, but they actually did have them there on set. Like they brought them in for that specific scene because a couple of the people are just like friends of him. Like Tracy Morgan is, he's SNL alumni, like Will Ferrell, but Brooke Shields, her man, I just read it because it was on IMDb. Her husband was one of the writers of the other guys, so that's why she was there.
Okay. Okay. Well, that
Or
makes sense.
producer or something. So that's why they were able to have her there in that scene, which is amazing. It's a great movie. It's really great.
Oh, it's so good.
So, do you have any closing thoughts you want to talk about before we end part 1 of this review?
I don't know. I just want to shout out to the cast. The cast are incredible. Just the comedic delivery in general. Like, sure, there's some that don't quite hit, but 90% of the jokes, which is pretty good for a comedy, sort of hit me. And I think the more you watch it, the more you appreciate
I'm
it.
recording.
So yeah, definitely the more you appreciate it. So no, I'd just say if anyone sort of hasn't watched it, or if they're watching it for the first time, just I'd say honestly, just turn your brain off and just go in, just knowing you're going to have a good time. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
And for my reviews now, apparently I'm doing Please Be Excited out of 10. Apparently that's my new review system.
Nice.
So I'm going to give this one. This is going to get a 10 Please Be Excited out of 10. Okay, I know it's not a perfect movie, but for me, it's one of my all-time favorites.
It's a good score. Very good score.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess this concludes part 1 of the other guy's review. Maybe part 1, I don't know. Depends on whether or not I'm able to record part 2 later on with other people in different time zones. If I'm able to, I'll stitch them together and make it one long review. If not, this is it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next proper Sasscast. Peace.